You've been sold a bill of goods, that you're just a physical body, a skeleton rattling around in a meat suit. But that's a lie. You're a dynamic force, a constant hum of energy vibrating at an incredibly high frequency, even when you appear still. Imagine yourself under a thermal camera in total darkness. You'd glow, pulsate, a radiant beacon. So if you're all buzzing energy, why are you stuck in the same rut, the same grind, the same old limitations? It doesn't compute, does it? That's the secret they never told you. Everything in the universe vibrates at different frequencies. Everything. That chair, your phone, the air you're breathing, all energy in motion. We call something wood, water, or metal, not because of some inherent substance, but because of the vibrational speed of its particles. Wood is energy, just vibrating at a frequency our senses interpret that way. Change the frequency, change the manifestation. And here's the kicker. Your life, your results, your finances, your relationships, it's all frequency feeling broke, perpetually attracting the wrong crowd, constantly chasing your tail. That's not bad luck. It's a frequency mismatch. You're tuned into the wrong station, stuck on static instead of the sweet music of your desires. Ever wonder why some people seem to attract opportunities like a magnet, while others struggle just to survive? It's not intelligence, education, or luck. It's frequency. Just as a magnet attracts metal, your vibrational frequency attracts corresponding circumstances. Vibrate scarcity, you attract scarcity. Vibrate abundance, confidence, possibility, and life has no choice but to respond in kind. I remember a time when I didn't believe any of this. I worked my fingers to the bone, putting in endless overtime, yet my life was stuck on repeat. It was like running on a treadmill, maximum effort, zero progress. Then it hit me. Action alone wasn't enough. I needed to shift my frequency, the energy I was emitting. It started simply. Instead of dwelling on what I didn't want, I began visualizing what I did want. When I stopped fixating on debt and focused on abundance, opportunities started appearing out of the blue. You might think, but I can't just flip a switch and change my frequency. It's not a switch, it's tuning an instrument. Imagine a guitar out of tune. No matter how skillfully you play, it sounds awful. But adjust those strings, and even a simple chord rings true. Same with you. No amount of effort will help if you're out of sync with your life. You need to tune your frequency. Neuroscience shows that 80% of our daily thoughts are repetitive, and most of those are negative. Statistically, most people are wired for lack, fear, insecurity. No wonder they're stuck in the same loops. How often do you catch yourself saying things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees and life's hard," or "I'm terrible with numbers"? These aren't just words, they're frequency programming. The powerful thing is, when you realize you're vibrating at a certain level, you can choose to vibrate at another. Instead of "I can't pay my bills," try "I'm finding creative solutions to thrive." It seems small, but it's like changing the radio station. Gradually, you'll pick up better tunes, clearer signals, opportunities that align with your new frequency. Many doubt this, thinking, "I don't see anything changing." And initially, you won't. You have to believe, vibrate, tune into the new frequency first. Then reality rearranges itself. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up the next day to see if it's growing. You water it, trust it, wait, and then you reap the rewards. Look at Oprah Winfrey. She rose from poverty and deep trauma, yet never allowed herself to vibrate at a victim frequency. She always tuned into a superior future. Today, she's one of the world's most influential women. It wasn't just talent, it was vibration. Conversely, consider those who achieved fame and fortune quickly, but vibrated on insecurity, fear, and self-destruction. Elvis Presley, for example. He couldn't sustain the abundance frequency the world saw because internally, he vibrated on lack and suffering. The result was tragic. When you understand that everything is energy and your life reflects your frequency, you stop blaming the economy, the government, your boss, or bad luck. The question becomes, what station are you tuned into now? And more importantly, which one will you choose to tune into from today onward? A thought in your mind isn't just an isolated idea. It already exists elsewhere, at another frequency, in another dimension of reality. The question isn't its viability, but whether you'll allow yourself access. People suppress their grandest ideas because they don't know how to get there. How many dreams have you buried simply because you lacked a clear plan? But the how isn't your immediate responsibility. Your responsibility is to keep the vision alive, to hold that thought firmly until the right frequency reveals itself. I distinctly remember quitting my job as a firefighter. No degree, no business plan, no confidence. To an outsider, I was a guaranteed failure. But inside I had a persistent image, me running my own thing, independent, free. That was a thought, but not just any thought. It was a pre-existing reality, and when I finally accepted that I didn't need to understand the entire path, only believe in the vision, the opportunity arose. A cleaning business, seemingly small, almost insignificant, yet within a year, it had deposited over $100,000 into my account. The most important aspect? I didn't create that idea from scratch. I simply tuned into the frequency of something that already existed. The problem is, most people don't trust their own minds. Have you noticed how when you imagine something grand, your inner voice chimes in with, "That's crazy, be realistic"? That's where most people give up. But that voice isn't you. It's conditioning, the paradigm. The real you is the one who dreams, who sees beyond the obvious, who receives the thought. What separates those who triumph from those who remain stagnant isn't intelligence or luck. It's the courage to not stifle the vision when it emerges. Consider Thomas Edison. He envisioned an electric light bulb at a time when the world relied on candles. How many people must have laughed? How many said it was impossible? But Edison didn't need to know how he'd do it. He trusted the vision, experimenting, failing, adjusting, until the idea's frequency materialized into something tangible. Now compare that to yourself. How many life-altering ideas have you discarded because they seem too big? Science proves the brain can't distinguish between a real and intensely imagined experience. When you vividly visualize something, your brain releases the same neurotransmitters, activating the same neural networks as if it were already happening. So when you hold a grand thought, you're literally training your body and mind to live that reality before it even occurs. Now you understand why abandoning a vision just because you don't see the path is so risky. The world is full of people suppressing their own ideas. How many inventors, artists, entrepreneurs could have transformed their communities but let their thoughts die in silence because they didn't know the how? Simultaneously, how many visionaries were deemed crazy until their creations changed the planet? Steve Jobs was fired from his own company but never abandoned his vision. The result? Apple became one of the world's most valuable brands because he didn't silence the thought when he didn't know how to execute it. When was the last time you believed in something seemingly impossible that wouldn't leave your mind? How many times did that thought return, insistent, urging you to pay attention? What did you do? Ignore it, laugh it off, or try even without all the answers? The difference between living the dream and surviving on autopilot lies precisely there. Not silencing the thought when it emerges. When you understand that every thought is already a reality at another frequency, the game changes. You stop asking, "Is it possible?" and start asking, "What's the frequency of that reality, and how can I harmonize with it?" It's like tuning a radio. The music's already playing, but you only hear it when you adjust the dial. Your dreams are already playing. You'll only live them when you learn to adjust your internal vibration. I challenge you, choose a vision residing within you. Doesn't matter if it's starting a business, moving to a new country, writing a book, or achieving financial freedom. Sustain that vision without demanding a complete plan. Treat it as real. Talk about it, write about it, live as if it already exists. Do this for 30 days and see what unfolds. You'll notice people, circumstances, and opportunities you never imagined start aligning. And then you'll finally understand. Thought was never just a daydream. It's always been a doorway to a reality that's been waiting for you. Life transforms the moment your belief merges with the idea you desire. That's the crucial point, because until then, the dream is just an image, a vague possibility. But the instant you truly believe, when your mind and heart say this is it, a fusion occurs, and reality begins to reorganize around that decision. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, things you couldn't see before start appearing. People, circumstances, ideas, everything moves. Let's be honest. How many times have you stopped believing simply because it seemed impossible? How many times did you dream big, only to quit soon after because you didn't have the answers? That's the trap most people fall into. They only believe when they have guarantees, when they can see the entire path. But life doesn't work that way. Steve Jobs said, "You never connect the dots looking forward, only looking back." You need to trust that the dots will connect, and that's exactly it. First you believe, then the path reveals itself. I've experienced this countless times. There was a moment when I set out to achieve results that to any outsider were completely irrational. I didn't have the money, the connections, or the experience. All I had was a persistent belief, and it was stunning to see what happened after I decided to merge with that idea. People started appearing in my life, offering support, paths, solutions I never would have thought of on my own. None of that would have happened if I'd stifled the dream before believing. You might be thinking, but I've tried believing before and didn't succeed. True belief isn't repeating affirmations or sticking notes on the wall. It's feeling it in your bones, living the emotion of the already accomplished. When you put yourself in the state of consciousness where it's already true, you change your energy, your posture, your daily choices, and when you change internally, the external world inevitably responds. Haven't you noticed that when you're confident, everything seems to flow, but when you're insecure, even simple things go wrong? It's not coincidence, it's frequency. It's the fusion of belief and reality. I propose a simple yet transformative challenge. Choose an idea already within you, one you've always considered too grand or too far-fetched. For 7 days, treat that idea as if it were already real. Act as if you're living it now. If it's increased prosperity, walk and talk like someone already prosperous. If it's a healthy relationship, feel like someone who already has that. If it's a new project, organize your day as if you're already in charge. This isn't about pretending, it's about alignment. When you enter that state, your mind starts creating paths previously blocked by fear and doubt. Think of how many transformation stories begin with an unwavering decision. Walt Disney, for example, went bankrupt twice before creating the empire we know. He could have quit, but he believed so strongly in the vision of a magical world that nothing could stop him. Why do so many incredibly talented people never get anywhere? Because they don't believe enough to sustain the vision when everything seems to say otherwise. What I've learned from observing people who transform their lives is that the difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent or resources. It's the moment belief merges with the idea. When that happens, you stop just dreaming and start living the energy of it. In that state, life conspires in your favor. How many dreams have you let die because you didn't know how to achieve them? How many times did you give up because you wanted guarantees before believing? If you continue like this, you'll spend your entire life extinguishing possibilities already ready to materialize. But if you decide today to merge with the idea already inside you, if you choose to believe before you see, you'll discover that the impossible is merely an illusion created by fear, because life always responds at the same level as your belief. Inside you is an invisible force acting as a silent enemy. It doesn't wear a uniform, doesn't appear as a declared opponent, but it's there daily, deep in your mind, dictating what you can and cannot do. That enemy is the paradigm. It's a mental program, a set of beliefs repeated so often they've become automatic. And it's not interested in your growth. On the contrary, it will fight with every weapon to keep you in the same place. How many times have you woken up energized, ready to change your life, only for that voice to start whispering, "You don't have the money. You don't know the right people. What if you fail?" Has that voice ever paralyzed you, made you give up before you even tried? That's how the paradigm works. It creates real physical sensations, anxiety, fear, a tightness in your chest, and it's not because you can't, but because you're trying to break an old program. I remember nights lying awake, thinking about radically changing my life. I dreamed of the freedom of my own business, of not depending on a salary. But the moment I closed my eyes, the other voice would begin. "Who do you think you are? You didn't finish school. You have no experience, you'll get into debt and regret it." And there were times when I almost believed that voice more than the vision calling to me. It felt like two people inside me, one saying go for it and another screaming don't dare. This conflict is more common than you think. Studies show that 95% of an adult's thoughts are automatic, repetitive, the same as yesterday. This means most of your life is controlled by unconscious programs, not conscious choices. That's why so many people repeat the same financial mistakes, the same bad relationships, the same jobs they hate. It's not bad luck, it's the paradigm. Now consider, how many times have you seen someone extremely talented and capable, but who never progressed? Maybe you even recognize yourself in this. The problem wasn't a lack of ability, it was the invisible force of the paradigm holding that person exactly where they were. It's like trying to drive with the parking brake on. You can accelerate, you can try hard, but you'll never move. The most insidious thing about the paradigm is that it doesn't present itself as an enemy. It disguises itself as logic, prudence, realism. When you think of starting something new and immediately think be practical, that's not wisdom. It's the paradigm trying to maintain control. It knows that if you believe in the new, it will lose its hold on your life. I had to learn to fight that internal battle every day. There were moments when I was about to give up because the pressure seemed too much. I remember one occasion in particular when I had no idea how I'd pay my bills. The paradigm screamed that I should return to a secure job, that it was crazy to keep trying. But inside me, a small flame insisted that I stay firm. I chose to trust that flame, even with fear. And that's exactly when doors started opening. If I'd given in to that voice, nothing I've built would have happened. Think of how many famous people succumbed to the paradigm. Elvis Presley, despite all his talent and success, lived tormented by insecurities and self-sabotage. By failing to conquer his internal enemy, he ended up self-destructing. This proves that no matter how much you achieve in the external world, if you don't win the battle against the paradigm, sooner or later you will be defeated. So I ask you, how many dreams have you buried because the paradigm said it wasn't possible? How many opportunities did you miss because that voice convinced you to wait for the right time? The truth is that time never comes. The paradigm will always invent a new excuse to hold you back. What you need to understand is that this battle isn't against the world. It's against yourself. Not against your true self, but against the program installed throughout your life by parents, teachers, society. Every time you feel fear, doubt, or anxiety, it doesn't mean you're wrong to move forward. It just means you're challenging the paradigm. That nagging feeling of discomfort, it's not a sign of failure, but of progress. The life you crave isn't built on comfort. It's forged in the fires of inner struggle. Confront your hidden fears and tell them, you're done controlling me. Only then can you shed old habits and build new, empowering routines. You'll discover that the fear was never as monstrous as it seemed, just a mind trick keeping you stuck. There's a chasm between wanting and committing. Wanting is easy. Anyone can yearn for wealth, health, love, success. It costs nothing, demands nothing. But wanting alone won't move mountains. Commitment will. Commitment means deciding something will happen, regardless of the cost, the time, the obstacles. It's saying, this is non-negotiable. Your life then rearranges itself around that decision. I've witnessed this not just in myself, but in exceptional individuals. A close friend, an Olympic athlete, won silver, not gold. Many would have given up, but he made a personal vow, gold in 4 years. He lacked resources, funding, ideal training, but he had unwavering determination. And when you truly decide, you find solutions. He sought help, negotiated, trained under impossible circumstances. 4 years later, he won. The world called it luck. I knew it was commitment. Think about your own life. How many times have you intensely desired something only to quit at the first setback? How many self-promises have you left unfinished? Weight loss, saving money, studying, career changes. We've all been there. Why? Because most people want, but they don't commit. A single hurdle is enough to crumble a wish without a firm decision backing it. I've been there too. Starting my first business, I had nothing. Just a young, inexperienced man with a dream and ferocious determination. The challenges were relentless. There were days I didn't know how I'd pay next month's bills. The easy route was to quit, get a stable job, forget it all. But I'd already committed. I decided this was my path, and inexplicably a solution, an opportunity always appeared. Because when you decide, life conspires to help you. Modern psychology confirms this. People who publicly commit to a goal are far more likely to achieve it than those who keep it a vague wish. Commitment transforms your daily actions, reframes how you view problems. What once seemed insurmountable becomes a mere stepping stone. Consider Oprah Winfrey. She could have wished to escape poverty, but that alone wouldn't have changed a thing. What transformed her life was her unshakable commitment to her vision. She overcame criticism, prejudice, countless obstacles, but her goal was never optional. It was a resolution, and the world had no choice but to bow to her unwavering resolve. How do you know if you're truly committed? Look at your actions, not your words. Working only when motivated, that's wanting. Persisting even when it feels impossible, that's commitment. Progressing only when convenient, that's wanting. Continuing even when it hurts, that's commitment. Think of something you've long desired, claimed to want, yet never completed. Ask yourself honestly, do I want this, or am I committed to it? Because if it's just wanting, the next challenge will break you. But if it's commitment, nothing will stop you. The universe doesn't respond to fragile desires. It answers unwavering commitment. It doesn't move because you hope for ease, but because you've declared it will happen, period. Then people call it luck, coincidence, destiny. It's the echo of a decision that accepts no excuses. So I ask you, how long will you continue wanting what you never truly decide to have? How long will you settle for dreaming instead of committing? The life you desire won't materialize through wishing. The day you make an unbreakable commitment, you'll realize there are no obstacles too large for someone who's already decided. Your future must become present in your mind before it becomes reality in your life. Most people misunderstand this. They believe they'll only allow themselves to feel victorious after achieving it. It's the other way around. Feel it first, live it first, embody it first. Then the physical world responds. It's like a mirror. You don't wait for the reflection to smile before smiling yourself. You smile first, and the mirror simply reflects. Many dismiss this as fantasy, but science backs it up. Studies show that athletes who practice mental visualization activate the same brain areas as when they physically train. In some cases, athletes who only visualize their training achieved similar results to those who physically trained. The brain doesn't distinguish between real experience and intensely lived mental imagery. So by consistently visualizing your desired future, your body and mind begin to operate as if it's real. Sooner or later, reality adjusts to match. I've experienced this firsthand. There were times when achieving my goals seemed impossible. Logic dictated, I lacked the training, the money, the reason to believe I'd succeed. But whenever I closed my eyes and chose to inhabit the image of my desired future, I started acting as if it were already true. Then, the unexpected happened. People approached me with ideas. Businesses I'd never planned materialized. It was as if life was waiting for me to accept living it in my mind first, before delivering it into my hands. Perhaps you're doing the opposite. Perhaps you're merely reacting to circumstances, waiting for something external to change before feeling better. But honestly, how many years have you spent trapped in this cycle? How many times have you thought, when I have more money, I'll feel secure, when I have more time, I'll take care of myself. When I find the right person, I'll be happy. Waiting never yields results. The future isn't pre-made. You must create it within yourself. By living the awareness of your future in the present, everything changes. Imagine someone who desires prosperity, but daily behaves like someone without resources, feels guilty spending money, speaks of scarcity. This person doesn't live their desired future. They reaffirm their undesired present. Now imagine someone who feels gratitude for small wins, walks with a winner's posture, talks about their goals as if already achieved. This state completely changes the energy, and life responds to that energy, not your complaints. William James, the founder of modern psychology, said the most effective technique is to act as if you are already the person you wish to be. He called it the actor's technique. An actor doesn't pretend to be a character, they inhabit them. That's what you need to do. Want success? Act successful. Want health? Behave healthily. Want love? Treat yourself and others as if you live in love. The external world reflects your internal state. Think of countless visionaries who lived like this. Nikola Tesla visualized his inventions with such clarity that when he built them, they worked perfectly on the first try. He didn't rely solely on what he saw with his eyes. He relied on what he built in his mind. This is how you can bring your future into the present, by becoming the version that has already achieved what you desire. The paradigm will fight you. It will tell you you're fooling yourself, dreaming too big, that you shouldn't act as if you already have what you haven't yet achieved. But understand, this isn't delusion, it's preparation. Life doesn't deliver what you desire randomly. It delivers who you are, the state you maintain, the frequency you emit. So I ask, do you live as if you've already achieved it, or as if you're still waiting? Do you mentally inhabit your desired future, or simply react to your undesired present? The answer reveals precisely where you stand. The secret was never waiting for circumstances to change. The secret was always changing your consciousness first. By living now what you wish to live tomorrow, tomorrow inevitably transforms into a reflection of who you are today. Nothing in the universe changes until you change your internal frequency. Your future isn't emerging from nowhere. It already exists, waiting for you to align with it. When you believe, commit, and act as if it's already real, your life will rearrange itself to match. If this resonated, know this isn't the end. The next video will take you to a new level of understanding, helping you become, at the very least, a slightly better version of yourself. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.